Okay. It is 7 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on a non-agenda item? Discussion or consideration of the minutes. Any changes?
Not noticing anything.
I didn't need.
May I have a motion?
A motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. We will start the public hearing at no.
Let's go ahead and announce the item first.
That's why I went no. Tonight, item number 1 is CUP 2023-001. Public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the Town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Article 14.02, Exhibit A. Ordinance 361-05 zoning by amending Chapter 5 Agricultural District Ag Article 5.2 uses permitted by granting a conditional use permit to authorize equestrian uses and special education services with equine therapy located at 2700 FM 407 East. Open the public hearing at 7:02. Staff.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm going to start with the Education Leadership Success Foundation presentation. This will basically track with what you have in your packet. Again, this is a CUP for an existing equestrian center. There we go. With the additional use of an animal assisted therapy. So again, I think for a couple of years, y'all have talked to this group about the possibility of a school going on this site. And this is the first step in preparing for that. So again, this is the CUP for the existing equestrian center, but since the school is anticipated to have an equestrian link, that would be an expansion of this use. It's currently a legal non-conforming use. The CUP would bring that into compliance with our zoning ordinance. Again, this is a 100-acre parcel. This is CJ's Legacy Ranch, as most of you will know it, on the FM 407. The current conditions on the site is there's a 22,000 square foot covered arena, 15,000 square foot barn and living quarters. Again, additional outbuildings throughout. The primary entrance is off of 407 and gated. There's a tributary that runs along the eastern border, and there are detention ponds on the site. So for a conditional use permit, we've got agricultural zoning, equestrian center and animal assisted therapy uses require a CUP as per our land use table. This constitutes an existing legal non-conforming use. The Bartonville zoning ordinance section 1.11 cannot expand to legal non-conforming use. As I said, this is in preparation for another use being on the site, and the future school will be integrated into the equestrian center or with the equestrian center, not part of. This is just the approval criteria we normally would consider. Is it consistent with a comprehensive plan, consistent with zoning? Is it compatible with the neighborhoods? Does it generate traffic, et cetera? This does preserve the rural atmosphere. It's an existing use. Is it consistent with zoning regulations? Agricultural zoning usually accommodates the agricultural operations, but again, this use requires a CUP. It's an existing facility, so compatible with and preserving the neighborhood character doesn't really apply since it's already been there. Traffic, I haven't heard of any complaints on traffic. So again, the generating additional traffic or hazardous traffic is really a non-issue for this CUP. Again, roadway improvements are not needed for this CUP as it applies only to the existing equestrian and the possible expansion of that use. Again, no known adverse impacts exist for adjacent properties at this time. We haven't had any complaints. And again, no variations are needed because this is compatible with agricultural zoning. Again, to point out, this is the CUP only for the existing equestrian, and the understanding that there is school will be a school presented in the future. The future school site will include all those mitigation measures. You've got floodplain there. You've got a lot of things that they're going to have to work around with that. So they still require a plat and a site plan review before they can build the school. So again, this is focused on one piece as opposed to worrying about all those other measures, which you will still get to see. And again, because of those, the staff does recommend approval with conditions. The applicant is not here, but they were provided with the latest CUPs as was included in your packet for the last two equestrian centers. And again, they were told that they should be prepared to answer questions related to those issues that were consistent across those CUPs. Arena dust, lights, noise, those types of things. So again, there is no representative from the applicant here at this time, but I'll answer any questions you may have.
I know we looked at this before. I don't remember exactly what we approved, or did we just look at it at
DRC level is
just the DRC level?
yes, sir.
Okay, it never got to P and Z or council?
No, sir.
Okay, that's what I was thinking,
So
but I wasn't sure.
using their engineering firm they have, the process became very muddled trying to answer the DRC questions and how that integrated with the equestrian use. And Ryan, the gentleman I'm using for our planning needs, suggested we separate it. So again, you can get the CUP and then everything else should flow through like a normal development would. But it was really convoluted, the process. So that's why we're doing it this way. So this is your first look at this piece. And that's why all those mitigation measures that were mentioned during DRC are not included in this. They will be in the next round related to a school development.
This is already in operation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All we need to do is provide a CUP and
Whatever those conditions are. Again, we have a sample in your packet that was consistent with the last two. Again, the top three items were dust, noise, and light. Hours of operation. Manure was another one. I did send all of those questions over to the consultant. I did not receive any feedback on any of those questions that we've discussed.
And there before the arena is covered inside. I don't know. They've got some round pens, but I don't know if they have an actual outdoor arena or not.
It's not shown on site.
so I think that there's an arena that did not used to be there, if I remember correctly, between the barn and the covered arena. If you look at that, I think that there's another open arena in between that, Ralph. Here. Pardon?
Isn't one of the photos back out, it's out the arena.
Yeah.
It's right there. That used to just be grass when I was up there riding.
I could have just, I don't.
The covered arena is open sided on all four sides. They have drop down mesh screens, but not
Oh,
solid walls. They were half up
they've got garage doors over all the way around it.
since I was there.
So they can, in fact, I'm not sure, but I think it may be air conditioned even. I don't remember seeing,
Let's show an open. If you look right at I don't know if this will show up on that screen, the screen kind of right in the center. There's the barn. here and your covered arena here, and that does show existing horse arena that is open.
I don't recall seeing that when I was there.
That's been added since I was up there.
I mean, I was there within the last month. I don't remember. seeing
Really?
it.
Well, if they say it's there on their map, it's there.
Yeah.
But again, the dust from that is so far, any dust that would make is so far away from anybody else that, not that we shouldn't put it in there, but that shouldn't be a problem.
We do not have an applicant presentation. We're in the open public hearing. I do not have any cards. I'm assuming nobody here wants to speak to this. Right,
Steven either.
okay, so we don't need favor or oppose. So I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:11. Now discussion and action.
I have several questions. One, when you talk about a school, what type of school are you talking about? Equestrian school or?
No, it's an open enroll. It would be an open enrollment school. But again, this is just the CUP related to
I understand,
equestrian.
but we're getting there. How many students are we expecting?
We can't answer that here.
So
That would be part of the site
this
plan.
area has no septic, sewer. It has
That is
septic.
correct. It would have to be septic, and they've been told that from the DRC meeting. There's a lot of things that would come out on the next round.
That's that part.
Yeah, the school piece is separate. That's
Discussing the equestrian center, which is up at the top of the hill. All the rest of that land is the school part, and we will address that when that comes to P and Z.
you will get to see all of that and answer all of those. We'll have to have all of those answers for you by the time it comes back for the school. And again, they are aware that it is septic only. So we don't know anything of the rest of that on the enrollment.
Make it the same as the ones we've already got.
Well, there are different examples, so I think y'all need to pick and choose what position you want to add.
I think they probably already meet all of that.
Comments?
Well, I was just gonna say, without someone here to ask questions, my question would be, okay, I see it's there, it's already in existing, but do they plan to even add on more? Will there be more lighting, less lighting? It's hard to know with no one here what their real plans are for even just the equestrian center. Is it going to stay exactly like it is, or will it be expanded, or?
To expand it more than what we have tonight would require them to come amend the CUP,
Okay, even putting up more lighting?
even putting up more lighting.
Okay, so, okay, then I guess
Yeah.
I'm okay. I just didn't know, well.
So I understand correctly that they can't change anything without coming back for a permit. Is that?
CUP, that's right. They need,
Okay,
whenever they change the CUP, the way it looks, and this will need to be attached to the ordinance.
It's part of their application. It would be part of the ordinance.
So that if they want to change anything about it, they have to come back and get approval. An amendment.
I guess they're already changing things if they're putting garage doors in and new.
Well, because they're not under a CUP now, you don't have that control yet. And once you have the CUP, then it kind of basically locks it where it is today.
Might I suggest that we look at the last two CUPs that we granted and looked at what they have to say, and then that will give you some direction on what you feel needs to go in this one. One starts on page 20 and 21. I believe that's the Rockgate Road one. And the other is on Porter Road. And it is page 15 in your packet. They're similar, but there are some in one of them that wasn't necessary for the other. One on page 14 came first. followed by the 14 and 15, and then
No, the other way around.
backwards. Thank you.
Yes, I did the most recent first on the page 14. That was in 2020 and the other one was in 2018.
So if you look on page 14. There are 8 CUP conditions.
Mhm.
So on page 14, number 1 would not apply. Other than normal setbacks.
Right.
And this was going to be built. I think that's why that went in there. Number 2, gravel roof is irrelevant to this. Number 3. I don't want to assume this, but the fire department would have already approved the
Ma'am.
roads up there, so that doesn't.
I think the road goes, their drive goes all the way around that front arena, the covered arena. I think it makes a loop all the way around.
As Mon said, he could turn his fire truck around there in about 3 different places.
Okay,
So 3 isn't necessary, and then take a look at 4 through 8.
well, we would definitely want to leave the soil in the arena to be kept dust free. So if there is an outdoor one, or in the summertime, the indoor one, if they open up the sides of it, you don't want it blowing dust through there, although I think most of it would be dissipated before it ever gets off the property.
It's closer to, what is that?
Hat Creek has actually got a few lots over there.
Right up against that property.
And that needs to be left in there.
So comments on 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's pretty standard in what we require on our CUPs. Is there any discussion on changing anything, or wait a minute? Number 7 is different than the next one that I want you to look at. So keep that one in mind. There's a,
Are they even gonna have shows and outside events?
well, we don't know since they didn't come here.
Right.
We have to assume they will,
Okay, okay.
since we can't assume they won't.
So we leave 7 in.
Well, maybe not 7 on this one, because I need you to look at 20 and 21. Also, these are non-identical,
Mhm.
and all we can do is put the CUP on there
Okay.
as tight as we feel it needs to be, considering we don't have anybody here to address any questions we have. Therefore, we will address them.
This one says 10 o'clock at night
Right.
instead of 9.
This first one doesn't allow any outside participation or visitors other than those that were based, that are boarding there, which is very different than the Rockgate one. Which is number 6 in the second one. That has to do with how many training clinics. So if you don't mind, let's look at the ones that we know address anyone that comes in here. And there were the dust, the lighting, the sound, and then let's talk about the possibilities of shows and traffic and that issue as our last item for CUP. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so. I believe number one, the soil in the equestrian arenas must be kept dust-free condition. That applies for both of them.
Yes.
So that should go down first. And then take a look at the lighting and I'll write this out. I don't know if they're identical or not, I can't recall.
Well, one says 9 and the other says 10. This one, the older one, I guess.
The one says directed down.
Yeah.
So how we want it to be written?
When does Marty B shut down at night?
10.
Yeah.
You know, that would be to me similar.
Logical.
Yes.
I'm not gonna get either, I think both are acceptable.
One's 9 and one's 10.
Right, I mean, as long as the lights are down, I think 10 is still fine if I were a neighbor. I wouldn't want it to go after 10 for sure.
I think 10 sounds good.
Okay. Bear with me while I write this down. I know it's there, but I want it all in one place. Okay. So ceasing lights in the equestrian arena and outside stops at 10 p.m. nightly. Okay, number 3. We did the dust stuff. We did the
Sound?
sound.
Sound is, yeah, that's number 3 in this older
Just
one.
that it needs to comply with the town's noise ordinance should be.
Well, this also says between the hours of 8 and 7 p.m.
That's in
The second one.
the second one. What does the first
And
one say?
amplified sound in the equestrian accessory buildings or outdoor equestrian area outside of stated hours is prohibited. So
We
no
have-
amplified.
In the first one, it says no amplified sound to be installed in the arena. And that could be,
I suspect they've already got a sound system in the arena.
we can't count on that, though. I imagine they do, but we don't know what it is, and there's nobody here to tell us.
Mhm.
We were pretty restrictive in the first one. I mean, additionally restrictive because of where that barn was. If you'll recall, that's right smack dab in the middle of, on a small residential street with houses all around it. The Porter one, I don't remember. I don't think they have a bunch of houses around them. So we didn't really put in a time or anything. We just spoke to amplified sound as opposed to headsets. I don't know with this being therapy, whether that's an issue or not. I really wish these people were here. But they aren't. So how do you want to handle this?
I guess we have to assume, because they're also, if they have shows or something like that, if they have things come in, we have to assume they'll have amplified sound. And I think we should have hours that's acceptable, and it should be within ordinances.
Then it looks like number 3 in the second one is more acceptable. I remember us working a long time to get this right.
Yeah.
Is there anything in there that you feel is not necessary or should be changed from that number 3? Or are you okay with it the way it is?
Nothing has changed in the sound decibels, right? I mean, that's the existing ordinance.
That is the existing ordinance. This is
Okay.
62 decibels.
And this is all, because I'm reading the last sentence of it, says amplified sound is the question of accessory building or outdoor equestrian arena. Oh, outside of stated hours is
Right,
prohibited, okay,
right. Yeah.
so, okay.
So are you
Do we want
comfortable
to-
with this?
I'm
Do
comfortable.
we want to limit to those hours, 8 AM to 7 PM, is that was stated in this one?
I think that's a reasonable, unless you wanted to bump it up to 8,
8 to 8,
8 to 8.
yeah.
I don't know, I don't know with, the houses that are semi-closed, if I had a really young child trying to put him to sleep, something else amplified sound.
It is, and as you're saying that, there are,
How close are those houses, that property in Hat Creek?
Right back there, right?
Because
This line is the back lot, I believe, right? It's one of those.
I can't see where you're moving anything.
Now, yeah.
Let's see, there's water supply, there's Hat Creek Estates right there.
Are those homes we're looking at?
Yes, it's not there yet. I think that one's still vacant. There's actually one built on the other side of the cul.
Well, that's not very darn far.
Oh,
That's closer than what they had on Rockgate, I think. Or at least certainly not any further away. Maybe
It's toward the back of the rock.
yeah. So 8 to 7 and leave it there?
that's what I-
Okay, so that one will just be identical to the one we already put together. Okay. Then, so we got manure is the next thing we have to be concerned about for neighbors.
Okay, on this one, they deal with it in sentence 7. I don't know, what did it say in the previous one?
Same thing, all manure must be contained in a compost structure west, well, we don't want to say west.
Yeah.
We actually,
What did it say?
yeah, west of the covered equestrian, that was site specific. Then,
Do you want to just say a certain number of feet away from nearest possible residents?
250 feet seems to be
Property line, not a residence.
Okay. Oh,
No,
yeah, so maybe from the-
no closer than 250 feet from the western property line.
that's not west, is it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh. Boy, am I turned around.
What if they put it right along the property line somewhere? Any property?
I don't know where
Yeah.
they, I assume they have a place already. I don't know where it's at.
I don't either, but I would say any
Is
property.
there anything on there that says that?
That way,
they're just
yeah.
opting for the.
I looked on this map, there's nothing indicating,
No, it is not.
no,
indicated
they
on
don't
the
have
map.
anything indicating what they're doing with
No.
it. Or spread. They've got enough acreage, but they aren't gonna have that acreage once they put a school in there. And buildings. For us to count on that. Most big operations, and this is considering how many horse stalls there in there, that's gonna be a big operation. They don't, I mean, they put it someplace and then somebody comes once a week and takes it away.
what to do now.
Well, we can say either it is moved off-site or put in a compost structure, whatever, at least so many 250 feet away from any
Yeah.
property line.
And and in either case, it must be covered while it's sitting there so that it doesn't make flies for everybody in the world.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that too. Flies in.
All right, somebody give me how you want this written in.
All manure must be contained in a compost structure at least 250 feet from any property line or removed from said property.
Periodic fashion.
Oh, yeah, in a timely, periodic fashion, whatever.
Define timely.
Gloria's defining it right now. Weekly? I don't know. I don't know.
Generally, well, the people next door to me hardly have any horses anymore, and it's just like garbage service.
Right,
They show up and they take it away once a week
right.
at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. But they've kind of quit doing that. All right, so on. What did we have here? All manure must be contained in a compost structure. Let's see,
Covered.
covered compost. Do we want to say compost? Covered
Structure until it.
structure.
This one doesn't say covered. Why why does it have to be covered?
Yeah, it does. Says all manure must be contained in a compost structure. Oh, west of the covered arena.
Yeah.
Where does the other one say? It doesn't. That's what I thought it said, but it's the arena, covered
see.
arena that,
Just
No, it
contained.
needs to
I
be-
think.
250 feet or 300 feet or
Right.
whatever away from the property line, but I don't see making them have it covered.
Just contained in a structure? Or,
you know what they'll probably do, at least that's what my neighbor does, is put it in a dumpster. And then the trucks come and take it out of the dumpster. So that's
Maybe what they-
whatever they want to do. We
Connections
did
actually
not
offers that
address
service.
oh,
manure.
they do?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
What did you say?
Waste Connections actually offers that as an additional service.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. We just discovered that last week.
It's handy dandy for people. All right, so help me write this, guys. 250 feet from all property lines,
Say any, I would suggest any property line.
any. Sorry. Kept in structure to be removed or composted.
Yes. Everything just sit there.
Ed, by writing this, does that preclude them from putting it in a manure spreader and spreading it?
Yeah, you could read it that way, that it would prevent that.
Well, I'm not sure that's a good thing. How do we write that till we're not stopping them from doing that?
Or use this for lighting.
I would start it with if manure is not spread on the property, comma.
What? Are you saying that you wanted to allow them to spread it on the property?
Why would you not allow them to spread it?
No,
on the
what did you
property?
just say though?
If manure is
Started
not
out.
Spread on the property.
Oh, if manure, okay, that makes sense.
no.
I took it, Ed was saying manure is not allowed to be spread on the property.
You have to assume, of course, we don't, it's not that I can see, but you assume somebody's living here and they're running the school. They're not gonna let up a whole lot of stink and flies around whoever their students are, whoever lives there, you know, they.
I heard is give them the option, but what I heard was give them the option.
Yes,
So
yes, let's give them the option.
you can say if manure is not spread on the property, comma, The room must be contained in the compost structure at least 250 feet from any property line and removed weekly.
Good.
That sounds good.
Or compost.
That's better than how I wrote it. All right. So did we miss anything? Manure, special events we have to deal with. Which could be special events or horse shows, all kind of fall into the same thing. So
We don't really know what their intentions are.
no, we don't.
School, like, is it gonna be competitions that would bring events in with these students there? Or, I mean, we really don't know what their intentions are.
Absent applicant input, you might want to just keep 6 as written and transfer it into the new CUP. That's the least restricted restrictive of the 2 that you've been provided. Allows, more activity on site than the other CUP, but again, absence their input, that I'm not sure how else to, without completely locking them up, but also not knowing if they have bigger plans than this.
I'm appalled that there's nobody here to give us some input on this.
We could tell them to say no. We could say no.
Yeah,
We could say we're not gonna any.
Therapy. I've volunteered at therapy place. Now, the place I'm at right now doesn't necessarily have horse shows. But it is also a public boarding facility as well as the therapy running. The place I was at before, they a couple, 3 times a year have not horse shows as you would think horse show just for the kids that are riding there. So that's not a huge production.
Everybody coming in from
Family
out
and
of town.
friends come up to show. It's not late night. It's a 1-day thing in the afternoon. It doesn't take forever to do it.
Again, if they're doing none, then having 6 in there as it is on page 21 wouldn't impact them at all. And if they were doing more intense activity than that, they should be here to be able to discuss that. 'Cause
One of the Special
I've asked the
Olympic
question.
that has it in Baldy Stables and Pilot Point that has the questions with disabilities. There, they had the regional Special Olympics, so they have riding facilities from around. Again, that's not a big horse show like that would draw huge amount of traders.
we are dealing with more than just a horse operation here. I just pulled up CJ's Legacy and they have advertisement for graduations, for booking events like an event center up there, and catering and decorating and planning and entertainment, which means music. All of this is advertised on their website. We need to deal with this in the CUP. And that's a horse of a different color
It's part of the horse operation.
on that property. It doesn't say you have to have a horse to do it. They show people here getting married. This is an event center too, which should have been put into that.
It's not approved, it's not stated in the CUP, that'd be anything like that today. So none of what they've advertised could be operated like that on the horse side of things.
Corporate events,
It's not.
Our CUP doesn't allow for any, or CUP
No.
as we're writing it doesn't allow for any of that, so.
that's exactly right.
Or it maybe because we're spending so much time trying to figure out and they're not here to represent. We ought to postpone this until they're here to represent so we can ask all those questions. Because I've seen that same advertisement that you have. And I wondered about all of that as well.
I want to see what else they have to say about the horse stuff.
Yeah.
All right, programs. They have programs for veterans, equine assisted therapy programs, equine program. They have 3 full-time trainers up there. We're dealing with a huge operation with a number of possibilities to have a lot of horse shows up there.
On the other side of things, you don't let them, they didn't show up, they had an opportunity, we just.
And we've got, do we not, does this fall under the 30-day deal?
Y'all have closed the public hearing, so to postpone it, you'd have to renotice. And so
Right.
I would push it way off.
Well,
I know that legally, they can do anything you read us under this CUP. It's not allowed in any of the terms of the CUP. The CUP is an equestrian operation.
and there's nothing in the paperwork that I saw that
Not at all.
suggests anything else.
So it wouldn't be proper under the CUP. So they couldn't do it. So all of the rest of all that you read sounds like it's going to be addressed in the school part of things.
How can they address the school part of things in the horse area?
No, they can't. CUP on the horse operations is limited here.
So it's not the physical part of it. Oh, I mean, here's the physical part of the horse right here.
Right.
So if they were to use that facility to do these,
It wouldn't be allowed because you.
okay,
CUP application should have been for event center, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if that's what they were seeking to do there. Not for an equestrian center.
Using the horse facility for this. I mean, let's be honest, the school's not built, right?
Right.
So they are using the horse facility for these things.
Not according to their application.
No, but according to
Therefore-
their advertisements.
It's not right. That's not correct. They can't do it. They'll be starting to write tickets for violating the zoning ordinance if they try to pull all that stuff.
Could we say that the equestrian
an
center is
executive
limited to the equestrian activities?
I'm sorry, Larry, I didn't hear you.
Can we say that the equestrian center is limited to equestrian activities?
What the CUP is saying.
That's what the CUP already says. Because this is an equestrian center CUP.
If we write this where we say there can be no shows or anything outside, and we put that in here now. And they look at it, and say, wait a minute, that's not what we wanted. What would be their process to come back and say, look, we really intended, we really do want to have limited horse shows? What's their recourse then if it's already, if we write it tonight, saying none?
Recourse would be to submit a CUP amendment application and try to amend the CUP to add those things.
And
Would likely-
have to be more specific.
Then they would have then we'd have another meeting like this and go through the details like that.
It's kind of my.
You have a,
I'm sorry.
you have a problem with using the same
Six.
description, number 6? For this, it allows them to do stuff,
21.
doesn't say no.
21.
Yes, page 21, number 6. That's kind of the one I was.
And it already states no more than 30 participants per day, not to exceed 2 days.
All right, let's put that in as is.
Because they were consistent, so we were the same.
Then they can't come back and say, well, you let this other place do this and you just told me no for everything.
Do we have anything we have not covered that either of you gentlemen think we should?
The dust free, the lights, the sound, manure management, and then of course the activities.
All this verbiage, can we not have someone make a motion to? We have 6
We have 5.
to. How can we do that where we don't have to read that all out? You guys wrote that all down and so did I.
Okay, let me make a stab at it.
Okay, and then they
Then
can,
someone can so move. What I'm hearing is that the CUP should be granted with the following conditions. Number 1, soil in the equestrian arenas are to be kept in a dust-free condition. Number 2, lights in the equestrian arenas and all outside equestrian operations will cease at 10 p.m. nightly. Number 3, we use the same language as appearing in condition number 3 found on page 21 of the packet. Number 4, we use the following modified versions from page 21. It says if manure is not spread on the property, comma, manure must be contained in a compost structure at least 250 feet from any property line and removed weekly or composted. Number 5 is to use the same text from number 6 condition on page 21 of the packet.
someone so move.
I move that we accept the
So
approve the
moved.
CUP with the conditions just stated.
Do I have a
The
second?
5 conditions just stated.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Okay. What did I do with them?
They've advertised the school before, but they didn't do a school yet. So
That is
the
correct.
advertisements that they're doing for an event center, we don't know that they've done the event center.
That is correct.
Okay,
Who's this one?
item number 3. LP 2023-001 numbers ZC 2023-001. Public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the Town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Exhibit A, Article 14.02, Ordinance 361-05, zoning regulations for the Town of Bartonville to change the land use designation in the town's comprehensive plan for a 10.076 acre tract or parcel of land situated in the BBB and CRR survey, abstract number 152A, track 6 and 7, and lot 1 of the Kincaid subdivision in the town of Bartonville, Denton County, Texas, from rural business RB to residential RE2, and an ordinance amending the Town of Bartonville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Exhibit A, Article 14.02, Ordinance 361-05, zoning regulations for the Town of Bartonville to change the zoning designation of the same property described above from rural business RB to residential estates 2 acre lots RE2. Staff presentation.
Thank you. I will go through this information as one presentation, but Ed has suggested, and I agree that they need to be handled in 2 motions. So again, you will handle the land use question as a motion and second and vote, and then the zoning change separately after that as a motion, second and vote. So, but I'll go through all of the presentation, and again, you can ask questions as I go. Again, this is for the corner of McMakin and Jeter. This is currently land use planned and zone rural business. That was done in 2015. It moved from ag to rural business. The applicant who is present tonight, he wishes to pasture livestock and construct a barn on this property. He owns the adjacent 20-acre tract where he's currently building his primary residence. And this tract is again separate. It's actually 3 tracts that he'll eventually plat into one. Basic is his current plan. Again, this 10 acres, southeast corner, Jeter McMakin, a commercial to the northwest, rural residential, actually RE2 to the west and south, and a church uses to the east. Undeveloped, we actually have on here existing house and outbuilding in state of disrepair. He's actually torn those down. He did get his demo permits. Alex is doing things like the way he should. 3 legal lots tracks that will eventually, we can handle that as a minor plat if y'all approve everything tonight. Again, that's just how that process would work. I'm not telling you to approve anything. Again, the designation's rural business. For the land use, the zoning is also rural business. And again, that was changed in 2015 from ag. Approval criteria, immediate needs, consideration for long-term effects consistent with plans, goals, talking about the comprehensive plan and land use plan, and beneficial for long-term health and vitality of the town of Bartonville. Rural business, you can see on the map where the circles are. They're located in only 2 places. Right now, that's 0.71% of your entire land area is rural business. So there's not a lot zoned that way. Commercial developments generally, they typically generate higher property and sales tax values. But the correlation there is when they generate sales tax, that requires a higher level of service. So again, that property, if it were to develop in a commercial way, it would vary. I'd give it a 99% probability it's going to be something like the office across the street. It'll be a very low dense use because of the septic need. It will not likely generate sales tax as well. Most of the businesses along McMakin behind Kroger are not sales tax generators. They're low density uses, low intensity uses. So again, this is not a negative unless you're really wanting to develop something big on that site. RE2 is actually more suitable for the available utilities adjoining the site right now. So again, without asking for any extension of other services, the utilities match with an RE2. For the zoning change, and again, that's related to your land use. Zoning change approval criteria is, are you implementing your comprehensive plan? Again, permitted uses compatible with immediate area. Is it compatible with proposed school, street, and utility plans, which is not relevant here, and then other factors. Again, the land use plan amended, if approved, then this is consistent. Permitted uses compatible with area. Again, RE2 is located to the south and west of the subject property now. So again, it would not be out of place for that to be RE2. Sewer is unavailable to that site. So again, that supports rural residential densities. Again, when you have a site 10 acres, if you're starting to talk about a single business use, they're going to require a higher level of service and utilities. No other factors affecting health, safety, morals, etc. Staff has looked at this, and I've looked at the numbers. The tax value per acre, if Mr. Wacker were to decide to develop that into 2-acre lots, would actually be consistent with what would be anticipated to develop on a rural business as well, because of the septic and the other limiting factors. That building across the street is about the same value per acre as most of the houses that are going up right now on 2-acre lots. So again, financially, long-term, that would be a wash if he were to decide to ever do that. I'll answer any questions you may have, but also Alex is here to answer any questions as well.
Is there a downside to us going to RE2?
We looked at it and we really did not see a downside to it. Again, there's not a financial downside to doing it.
There's some plus side too. Traffic. from,
Oh, yeah.
if that was be developed into RE2, would be a lot less than offices going in there generating traffic coming in and out of there all day long.
If I ever recall correctly, the reason that it's was designated as rural business is because we didn't think anybody would want to build a house right on that corner behind Kroger's. So we designated it.
I would say
as-
that's probably still holding true.
What?
That's probably still holding true. Because
I don't see a problem with it.
We need to conduct a public hearing though,
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
It's just a
Right.
public hearing.
Before I open. I'm gonna open the hearing at 7:55 and have the applicant presentation now, if you'd like to speak to us, but you don't have to.
You'll state your name and address, please, for the commission.
Alex Wacker, 327 McMakin Road, right down there. I'm just here, like Thad had mentioned, if you guys did have any questions, I'm just gonna be putting cows in a barn up and hay storage, so I'm trying to keep it as rural and country as possible. Hopefully you guys have liked what me and the wife have already done with the fence and taking down the kids' party house that I've lots of alcohol bottles inside of it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'm here, but I think it's all Thad did a good job of explaining it all. So if you guys do, go ahead and shoot.
I love it that poor yellow house is gone. It used to be so cute and it ended up looking horrible.
Yeah.
My understanding of one of the former Cowboys players back in the 60s rented it in the
Yes, he
80s.
did.
But other than that, it's
heard that
no
story.
significance of anything, and it's just an eyesore. So that's why I wanted it down, and that's where I plan on putting my barn, is somewhere near that area right there. But fixed the fences and trimmed up all the trees and stuff like that already. So I'm trying to make it as pretty as the rest of the area and the property. So, but yeah, like I said, if there's any other questions.
Don't have anybody else?
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Been here once before already, actually. We used to have a house in Saddlebrook. So, and I'll tell Thad about the story, but been here a long time ago with a neighbor of mine, that barn issue. So, but yeah, other than that, cool. Thank you all very much. Thank you for having me.
We have no in favor or opposed.
Staff
Or we-
also received no comments, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Therefore, we will close the public hearing at 7:58. Okay. Discuss and take appropriate action. We have two things you're doing or requested to do. Number one, we have to change the comprehensive land use plan because right now it's rural business and we're being requested to change it to RE2, which is what it was up until 2015. Then once we do that, we're being requested step 2 to make the property zoned, which it isn't now. So we'll be zoning it RE2 on, on the land use.
Another discussion, I think it's a great idea. I'll go ahead and make a motion if anybody wants to speak. I make a motion to approve the change of the comprehensive land use plan to back these lots from ag to RE2.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now I need discussion and decision on making and it becoming RE2 from ag.
I'll make a motion that we recommend.
RB, from RB to
RB, what did I say? Ag?
Ag.
Right, rural business, sorry.
I'll make a motion that we change it from rural business to RE2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
I'll take ag if you just got. You have the file, right? Thank you all so very much.
Talk to you later.
Welcome.
Yeah, very nice to see you.
Thank you. I'm anxious to see that big giant house get built up there. It's looking pretty good.
You have a full, he's a rescue people actually, Brahma, and he was really famous in Aubrey. They actually had a Facebook page.
Yeah,
His name's Bazooka, and people, they literally would come by, pet him, jump the fence, feed him bread, so you'll love, he's super gentle, and every time you pet him, he starts to cry, so.
Oh.
Yeah. So, thank you guys so very much.
Thank you. All righty. The final thing we have is discussion of the section 4 of the comprehensive land use plan. And if you do not mind, I would like to move this to next month so that I can go home and be with my grandchildren.
You have an alternative mode.
Would it just? Would it be all right if we go ahead and do both parts next time, unless there's something big coming up, and go ahead and get this started?
We can do 4 and 5. That was kind of the thought we would do this time, but we had 2 big items. So yes,
Good.
and I'll keep going.
fairly short, I believe,
And that
yes.
way we're not off schedule because of my grandchildren.
right.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of discussion in
We don't need to make a motion,
This
do we?
thoroughfare.
I didn't.
Anyway,
Or do?
do we?
Go ahead,
Motion.
Right.
move
for it.
to, but it's been noticed and everything.
We need to make a motion.
Well, fine.
Going for it.
Make a motion that we move item 3 to the next meeting.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Future agenda items?
Just what we've discussed. Again, there, I don't know if we're going to see the site plan for the school next time. I don't have an application yet, so. I do, other than that, what we're planning.
So on that note, we will adjourn at 8:02. Yay, we did. Well.
So the one that he and his mother came, that